In the sleepy suburb of Maple Grove, where pristine lawns and ironclad HOA regulations held sway, a story so bizarre unfolded that it left the entire neighborhood in a state of shock and awe. My name is Caleb Monroe, a freelance wildlife photographer who'd moved into this picture-perfect community 6 months ago, chasing the calm of a new home near a sprawling nature preserve. I thought the wildest thing I'd face was a rogue raccoon. I was dead wrong. The real threat wasn't in the woods, it was next door, in the form of Vanessa Kendrick, the 52-year-old HOA president whose clipboard was as sharp as her vendetta. From the moment I pulled into my driveway, hauling camera gear from my truck, Vanessa made her presence impossible to ignore. She marched over, her smile as icy as her perfectly manicured nails, and thrust a 73-page community guideline manual into my hands. "Welcome to Maple Grove," she said, her voice dripping with false warmth. "I'm Vanessa, HOA president. Pay special attention to sections 4 through 17 on property upkeep." Before I could mutter a word, she was already critiquing my lawn, half an inch too tall in my native plant garden, which, apparently, required her personal approval. She strutted off, levying me with the distinct feeling I'd just been sized up by a predator, not a neighbor. Not everyone in Maple Grove was cut from Vanessa's cloth. Mrs. Lakshmi Patel, a kind-hearted 70-year-old who'd called this place home for decades, greeted me with a plate of homemade samosas and a warning that hit like a gut punch. "Watch out for Vanessa," she said, her eyes narrowing. "She's run off 4 families this year alone. Used to work for Pine Ridge Realty. Got fired for faking environmental reports to push developments. Now she treats the HOA like her personal kingdom." Lakshmi's words lingered, but I figured I could keep my head down and stay off Vanessa's radar. That hope crumbled one stormy April evening when I found a family of injured skunks, 2 scrawny juveniles and a limping adult female huddled under my porch. As a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, I couldn't turn my back on them. With proper permits, I turned my basement into a temporary care facility, complete with ventilation and enclosures. I named the mother skunk Hazel for her faint, creamy stripe and called my friend Dr. Saren Gwynn, a wildlife biologist, for backup. Skunks in mating season are no joke. Their scent glands kick into overdrive, and even my top-notch filtration system couldn't fully mask the musky stench that soon wafted into my yard. Vanessa noticed. Her daily power walks past my house turned into slow-motion stakeouts, her smartphone always poised to snap EVY Denke. One morning, I caught her crouching behind my azaleas, filming through my basement window. Our eyes locked, and she bolted, her floral skirt flapping like a battle flag. That night, an HOA violation notice was slapped on my door, accusing me of harboring unauthorized wild animals, and demanding the skunk's removal within 48 hours or a due law $5,000 fine. I called Sarah furious. "This is ridiculous," she said, her voice steady but sharp. "MOVing the skunks now could kill them, and your permits are ironclad under state law." We geared up for the upcoming HOA meeting, armed with permits, photos, and a presentation on wildlife rehabilitation. The meeting, held in a stuffy community center, was a circus. Vanessa, flanked by her loyal lackey, Brian Holt, accused me of turning my home into a disease-infested zoo. Blurry snapshots of my basement flickered on a projector as she ranted about property values tanking by 20 fan tram. Neighbors shifted in their seats, caught between her fear-mongering and my measured explanation of my legal, temporary work. Sarah's expertise tipped the scales, forcing the skunk's removal would violate state law. The board grudgingly gave me a 2-week extension, but Vanessa's whispered threat to Brian as we left, "I'll dig up dirt to bury him," sent a chill down my spine. Vanessa's campaign escalated into obsession. She measured my grass with a ruler, sent fake legal letters from a non-existent law firm demanding $200,000 for defamation, and issued violations for absurdities like excessive squirrel activity at my bird feeder. Lakshmi, over chai one evening, revealed a pattern. Vanessa had hounded families like the Thompsons and Lopez's until they sold their homes, often to Pine Ridge Realty, her old employer. There's talk of kickbacks, Lakshmi said, her voice low. They want 60 fan tram of the neighborhood for a strip mall. My security cameras soon caught Vanessa and Brian trying to pry open my garage, only to be chased off by a neighbor's barking dog. When I confronted her, she shrieked about her duties. But the fake court summons I received next, debunked by a quick call to the courthouse, proved she was unhinged. With Sarah's help, I uncovered outdated HOA rules Vanessa enforced illegally and rallied neighbors like Lakshmi to challenge her at the next meeting. But Vanessa had darker plans. My cameras recorded her scheming with Brian. Tomorrow, when he's at his university lecture, I'm getting into that basement, she hissed. I'll record everything and call animal control. Sarah's eyes glinted with mischief. Let her meet the skunks up close. We rearranged the basement to ensure any intruder would spook Hazel and her family, whose mating season musk was now a biochemical weapon. I cut my lecture short, monitoring from my car. At dusk, Vanessa jimmied the basement lock and crept inside, her phone glowing in the dark. I remotely flicked on the lights, startling her. Her phone clattered to the floor, and the noise unleashed chaos. Hazel and her kin let loose a noxious spray, a sulfuric hell of rotten eggs and burning rubber, amplified tenfold in mating season. Vanessa's scream could have shattered windows. "Oh my God!" she wailed, clawing at her face as the stench soaked her blouse, hair, and skin. The skunks, sensing danger, sprayed again, drenching her from head to toe. She pounded on the locked door, mascara streaming, choking on the odor, only to collapse in a corner, retching, as the skunks watched with smug indifference. I called Officer Matt Delaney, reporting a break-in. Police arrived, masks on, to find Vanessa sobbing, reeking so badly they could barely get near her. "You're under arrest for trespassing," Matt said, struggling to keep a straight face. Vanessa, humiliated, screamed, "I'll sue you, Monroe!" But her threats were lost in the stench that clung to her like a curse. The neighborhood exploded with gossip about the skunk scandal. Vanessa's lawsuit fizzled. Sarah proved skunks only spray when threatened, and my footage showed Vanessa's illegal entry. Neighbors shunned her, HOA meetings went viral to avoid her smell, and even Brian ditched her after refusing to lie about luring her into the basement. The real bombshell dropped at an emergency HOA meeting. Vanessa called to expel me. It backfired spectacularly. Jim Carver, a retired attorney and former Vanessa ally, unveiled damning emails between Vanessa and Pine Ridge executives. They outlined her scheme to tank property values through HOA harassment, earning her 5 fan tram commissions due law $117,000 in 2 years. My house was a prime target. "This is fraud," Jim declared, presenting a map of targeted homes and proof of Vanessa's past environmental falsifications. Neighbors erupted, demanding her resignation. Officer Delaney announced an expanded investigation, and Vanessa, pale and still reeking, quit the HOA. Lakshmi was voted interim president. Vanessa's legal troubles snowballed. Felony charges for fraud, conspiracy, and tax evasion led to 18 months of house arrest and due law $700,000 in restitution. Pine Ridge collapsed under a due law $3 million fine. Brian, remorseful, testified against Vanessa and joined efforts to rebuild Maple Grove. We released the skunks into a conservation area, turning it into an educational event that drew crowds and boosted my photography work. Vanessa, now a local meme, sold her house and vanished, Leah vying a curt apology note. Maple Grove transformed under Lakshmi's leadership. Fair HOA rules, native gardens, and a wildlife sanctuary took root. I became a local hero, my backyard occasionally cited by Hazel's family, including one I jokingly called Vanessa Jr. Sometimes, when the wind shifts, it still smells just a little like skunk.